You think Get Out was a head trip? Jordan Peele's Monkeypaw Productions just took another swing at the horror genre with him. And trust me, the game is rigged. Did you notice the subtle foreshadowing in the mascot's costume? Or the terrifying truth behind that final touchdown? We're breaking down every twisted secret, from the deleted scenes that explain the blood ritual to the alternate ending that changes everything. What does it really take to become the greatest of all time? And who is watching the game from the shadows? Let's roll the tape. Breaking the cycle. Let's start with the theatrical ending that had everyone in the theater cheering. It's the conclusion that cemented the film as a powerful indictment of the professional sports machine. The final week of training, according to the original script breakdown, is titled Sacrifice. Cam, played by Tarek Withers, faces his idol, Marlon Wayans' character, Isaiah White, in the ultimate showdown, the fading G.O.A.T versus the rising prodigy. Cam defeats Isaiah, literally bludgeoning the past to death with a football helmet, a dark twist on using your head in a violent sport. But the real victory isn't the kill. It's what happens next when Cam walks onto the field and sees the owners, his agent Tom and Elsie, waiting with a contract he doesn't sign. He realizes the entire system is a meat grinder designed to feed young, talented athletes to rich, masked elites. Instead of joining the saviors, Cam refuses to sacrifice his soul and goes on a rampage, slaughtering the executives and rejecting the legacy of him. He uses the violent precision and physical strength the game has imbued in him to turn on the corporate structure itself, becoming a primal force against his exploiters. He walks away covered in blood, a free man who refused to sell his soul for a championship ring. It's a triumphant, if incredibly violent, rejection of the commodification of black excellence in sports. It is the hopeful, definitive ending, proving that the cycle can be broken, even if the price is a pile of executive corpses. But hold on to your popcorn, because the alternate ending tells a very different story. The alternate ending. Now let's talk about the ending that almost made the cut. And it's a far more psychologically devastating conclusion. In this version, the physical horror is replaced by a slow, tragic rot. We cut to Isaiah, who is revealed to have survived his beating. He is sitting alone on his private turf, physically and mentally broken, shaking and struggling to move. He is watching TV, and on the screen, it's Cam, hoisting a championship trophy for the Saviors. This ending implies Cam did sign. He surrendered, not to death, but to the system. We hear his TV interview, where he thanks the franchise, his teammates, and most importantly, his late father. This rings completely false because Cam confessed he hated football and only played to please his dad. He is now imprisoned by the system Isaiah guided him into, burying his true self for status and legacy. Isaiah watches, first laughing as he realizes Cam has walked into the same trap, then suddenly beginning to cry, consumed by the realization that he has faded into obscurity with absolutely nothing. The facility light above him resembles a halo, symbolizing his death as a champion and the end of his contract under the professional football devil. The scene ends with Isaiah blowing out the television, like blowing out a candle. It is a chillingly cynical route, capturing the endless cycle of commodified athletes in a harsh and unapologetic way. The Demon of Greed. The word G.O.A.T is everywhere in this movie. It's the acronym for greatest of all time, Isaiah's title, and Cam's ambition. But director Justin Tipping revealed in interviews that the title is a deliberate double entendre that unlocks the true horror of the film. The goat imagery seen throughout the film, including the goat masked assailant, is a direct reference to Mammon, the demon god of greed and wealth. By making the acronym G.O.A.T literally demonic, the movie critiques the obsession with greatness at any cost and the toxic mindset that follows. The Saviors team isn't just run by businessmen, it's run by a cabal who have made a Faustian bargain with Mammon to ensure their decades of success. The goat-masked figure isn't just a psycho fan, he is a literal servant of this demonic pact, sent to ensure Cam is physically and psychologically broken enough to accept the bargain. This explains why the team is called the Saviors. They are saving their players from obscurity, but in exchange, they demand a literal physical sacrifice on the altar of greed. It transforms the sports commentary into a story about corporate ritualism and how wealth can literally be infused with evil. The Ritual of the Transfusion. This Mammon metaphor is made horrifyingly concrete through the movie's supernatural core, the G.O.A.T blood transfusion. Isaiah reveals to Cam that he is part of a manufactured lineage of G.O.A.T players. This power is passed down through ritual blood transfer, granting the recipient enhanced abilities to train without fear and be at their best. Cam is systematically injected with Isaiah's blood, a shocking visual metaphor for the exploitation of black talent. The older generation quite literally drains their life force, their blood and trauma, into the new generation to ensure the franchise's success. Isaiah's seemingly superhuman endurance and ability to cheat an otherwise career-ending injury in the prologue is suddenly explained. He has the G.O.A.T blood. The conflict becomes a Darwinian death match. There can only be one him at a time, and the transition requires a fight to the death to determine the victor. The fight between Cam and Isaiah is not a mentor correcting a pupil. It is the final, violent rite of passage designed to secure the next great player for the franchise. The moment Cam bludgeons Isaiah, he doesn't just win a fight, he completes the sacrificial ritual, earning the right to be presented with the contract that solidifies the demon god's claim on his soul. Scapegoats and sacrifice. Let's circle back to the mascot because the goat symbolism runs even deeper than just mammon. In many cultures, the goat is historically linked to the concept of the scapegoat. A scapegoat is a person or animal singled out to bear the blame for others. Cam, the young, promising black athlete, is effectively a scapegoat for the entire organization. He is blamed for his injury, blamed for his inability to attend the combine, and he is the one who must physically endure the pain and paranoia to serve the wealthy white executives. When he hallucinates himself as the bleeding mascot, it's the ultimate realization that he is not a celebrated star. He is a sacrificial animal dressed in a ridiculous costume for the public's consumption. He is the spectacle, the commodity, and the sacrificial lamb all rolled into one. The mascot is just the public-facing camouflage for the brutal, demonic reality hidden beneath. Elsie the Siren. Julia Fox's character, Elsie White, Isaiah's influencer wife, is far more than a trophy wife. She is the siren song of the system, representing the seductive veneer of fame and white privilege that enables the cult. Fox herself stated that Elsie is a strategist who knows the game is rigged but is playing to win anyway. She is the one who welcomes Cam, offering him comfort and a warped kind of femininity in the austere masculinity of the compound. She is the one who invites Cam to the executive party where he finds Marco's severed head, and she is the one who gaslights him into thinking the severed head is a hallucination before sedating him. Elsie embodies the transactional nature of celebrity marriage and the high price of proximity to power. She profits immensely from the G.O.A.T ritual, building her own brand, her empire, while her husband literally sacrifices his blood and soul. Her final chilling scene in the theatrical cut, where Cam kills her on the field, confirms her position. She is a fully knowing accomplice and a necessary component of the entire demonic operation. She is the devil's bargain wrapped in designer heels. Marco's fate and the cult structure. The scene where Cam finds Dr. Marco's severed head is the moment the psychological horror breaks through into the physical and supernatural. Marco, the team doctor, played by comedian Jim Jeffries, whispers a desperate warning to Cam to run before leaving the party. This is quickly followed by the discovery of his head, confirming he was killed for his defiance. Marco's death solidifies the Savior's franchise as a full-fledged cult. The owners and executives aren't just greedy, they are zealots who demand unwavering loyalty and absolute secrecy. Marco, the medical professional whose job was to protect the player's body, was sacrificed by the organization that wants to own the player's body and soul. His head on the table, lined with plastic sheeting, serves as a brutal warning to Cam. Dissent results in destruction. His body was used for the medical well-being of the team, but his final act, the warning, was an attempt to save Cam's life, a gesture the cult swiftly punished. The Prison of Legacy. The tragedy of Cam's ambition is rooted entirely in his father, who appears only briefly in a prologue. Cam claims his devotion to football is a way to honor his late father, but the final scene reveals that Cam's father arranged for him to be the next G.O.A.T years ago. The most crushing implication is that Cam's father, the man who instilled the motto, "Real men make sacrifices," may have orchestrated the events leading up to Cam's head injury and subsequent recruitment by Isaiah. The suggestion raised by the cult members is that Cam's father either willingly sacrificed himself or was killed by the cult to ensure Cam felt obligated to continue chasing the dream he once admitted he hated. His father's love, warped by his own obsession with the Saviors and the pursuit of greatness, became the ultimate tool of Cam's destruction legacy. In him isn't a gift, it's a binding contract. Visual language and the desert compound. The visual identity of him is not just aesthetic, it's a terrifying map of Cam's shattered psyche, with director Justin Tipping masterfully utilizing style to externalize the quarterback's brain trauma and paranoia. The entire psychological nightmare is geographically confined to the isolated compound in the remote New Mexico desert, a stark, brutalist setting that screams cult campus rather than training facility. Shot partially at Spaceport America, the place looks less like a luxury retreat and more like a high-security prison or a sterile, cold mausoleum, effectively serving as the architectural stand-in for the sunken place where Cam's soul is slowly suffocated. Tipping utilizes a few key extreme cinematic techniques designed to completely disorient the audience and blur the line between reality and hallucination. The first you can't possibly miss is the pervasive red light that frequently saturates the frame, especially during the most brutal drills and the late-night rituals. This isn't just moody lighting, it's a classic horror signifier for danger, blood, and the literal fires of hell, cementing the visual connection between the relentless pursuit of G.O.A.T status and the demon god Mammon. Complementing this is the gut-wrenching X-ray vision. Tipping uses visceral X-ray filters during moments of intense violence, whether it's a tackle on the field or Cam's own head trauma, which literally shows the audience the cost of the game in terms of fractured bone and brain damage. It's a stark, undeniable reminder that the true horror isn't the supernatural contract, but the physical toll the sport takes on the players' bodies, which the executives celebrate as an honorable sacrifice. These extreme stylistic choices ensure that whether the disturbing events are the result of actual cult activity or just Cam's concussion-induced hallucinations, the feeling of being hunted, broken, and commodified is painfully real. Ultimately, this turns Cam's psychological descent into a literal bone-crushing body horror film. The end credits. Let's go back to the digital end credits scene, Day 7, Resurrection. The final eerie image is the football spinning upright on the floor. This is a direct echo of the moment Cam was first attacked by the mascot. This spinning ball is the ultimate symbol of the ongoing cycle. The football is the object of worship, the engine of greed, and the instrument of his downfall. By accepting the mantle of him in the alternate ending, Cam hasn't won. He's just entered the spin cycle of vice, temptation, and self-destruction. He is now the one who will eventually have to lure the next kid to a desert compound and feed him blood. The dark forces will follow him all the way to the bitter end of his legacy. So did the deep dive into Mammon and the blood ritual unlock the whole game for you? Or do you still think Cam's father was just a zealous fan? Which ending delivers the most powerful horror? The bloody definitive escape of the theatrical version or the haunting cyclical surrender of the alternate cut? Let me know in the comments below. And seriously, would you sign that G.O.A.T contract if it meant being the greatest of all time? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden horrors of Hollywood. Until next time, enjoy your popcorn.